And at that time, we will be ministering in faith, believing God for touching people's lives. And we need at this time to be thoroughly aware of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Now, in ministry, in knowing the Spirit, we spent time on the gifts. And I really don't think that there can be any really prolonged ministry in the Spirit without the gifts of the Holy Spirit. The gifts of the Holy Spirit is your toolkit. It's your toolkit. These aren't toys for amusement or trophies to mark some kind of spiritual dignitary. These are tools to get the job done. And you need to know your toolkit. You need to understand the gifts of the Holy Spirit. That's how Jesus ministered. There are scriptures here to show you how Jesus ministered in the gift of faith. In the raising of Lazarus, that took faith. In the gift of miracles, in the feeding of the 5,000. In the gift of healing and all the healings that Jesus did. In the word of wisdom. In Matthew chapter 22, verse 18, where Jesus looked at the people and brought the coin and said, render to Caesar which is Caesar's, and so forth. That was a word of wisdom. In discerning of spirits, Jesus ministered as he discerned that when people cried out saying, you're the Son of God, he said, don't speak, you're a demon. The demons recognized him, but he didn't allow their witness to come out. He said, I don't need you to witness to me, you be quiet. And he ministered in the gift of prophecy. He ministered in the word of knowledge. In fact, he ministered in all the gifts of the Spirit that are listed in Corinthians, except for 2, tongues and interpretation. There's no record of him being involved in that. But in every other gift, he ministered in that way. And so, when we minister, we need the enabling of the Holy Spirit, whatever gifts the Spirit gives to us, which means basically, here's a way of thinking about the gifts of the Spirit, is whatever thoughts or words the Spirit gives you to say, whatever deeds the Spirit gives you to do. Those are manifestations of the Spirit. And we need these gifts. I want to go through them very briefly, just again, to help you. Before we go through them, I want you to know 3 things about the gifts of the Spirit. They are the tools for your job. And I want you to know 3 things. First of all, you've got to know the toolkit. You've got to know what's in that toolkit. So if you've got a toolkit to do a job, a bit of DIY, you've got to know what the hammer is for. That's to hit your thumb, isn't it, when you put the nail in. Now, the hammer is there to hit the nail in. You've got to know what a screwdriver is. Screwdriver is there to screw the screw in, and so forth. You've got to know that practically. And so the toolkit of the Holy Spirit, you've got to know it. Secondly, you've got to select the right tool for the job. When I go to my toolkit at home, I'm very lazy in DIY, I've got to confess. And I will use any tool for any job. And, it's amazing what I will use as a hammer. Instead of going to the toolkit, I might get a heavy boot and use a shoe instead. And Amanda's always saying to me, go and get the tool. And the Spirit is telling you, get the tool. Select the right tool for the job. And this will become clear as you go to develop your ministry in the Holy Spirit. Then also, number 3, you need to develop skill in using these gifts. Don't think that the gifts come to you so fully formed that from day one you minister with expertise in these gifts. You have to learn how to minister in the gifts of the Spirit. The gifts themselves are good and they're perfect. The tools are okay. It's nothing matter with the tools. It's the person using them. All right? So know your toolkit. Know which tool, which gift is the right one for the job, and to know how to use them and develop skill in using them. Let's go through quickly the list of these gifts. Can't teach on them now in any detail, but it's good to touch on them